Hi everyone, Yana is here, and in this video I will be showing you something that I'm absolutely obsessed with lately, which is a watercolor background. I've been using it a lot lately on some of my cards. I've been experimenting and trying this and that, and this card with a Hero Art stamp is one of the examples of the cards that I did. I will be showing you some more examples in the middle of the video. So this watercolor technique that I will be showing you today is my way of doing a watercolor background. There are many different ways to it, but I haven't seen a video like this, so that's why I'm sharing my way of doing this. So for this, you will definitely need some watercolor paper, a large paintbrush, some water. I'm using an acrylic block and some a spritzer bottle, but you can skip that if you have like a cup of water or something. You will also need a heat tool to speed up the drying process, some inks, some sprays, water-based sprays. The ones I'm using are color box spritzers from ClearSnap. I also have one from Studio Calico and a smooch spritz from ClearSnap. You will also need, in some occasion, a paper towel or a fabric towel, anything. And sometimes I also use a large, actually a small paintbrush to pick up some color from the spritzer bottle, from the spray bottle, and put it directly where I want it. So the trick to creating this watercolor background is very simple. What I do first is I wet my paintbrush, my large paintbrush, and then I paint a puddle, a clear puddle on my paper. I'm not able to see where I'm painting, but I can kind of imagine where the puddle is. And the trick is to add a lot of water to it. You don't want it to be barely wet. You want it to be fairly wet, to have a lot of water. Then what you do is you unscrew your spray bottle, take out the nozzle, and just put a little dip, a little like drop of paint or spray on your paper, and you let it run. You play with the water and you sort of like move it around. You use your heat tool to to dry some areas like I'm doing here, or you add more water if you need, and you just play with your water and you let it spread on the paper and let it run and cover the paper the way that you like. This way I find it that you have a lot more control over what you're doing. Well, not very much, but still a lot. You're able to remove some of the color if you don't like it using a paper towel, and you're able to dry the color whenever in the places that you like. So finally, for the actually you can see that my background is almost done here. I have yellow, pink, and red colors in here, and to finish up this little piece here, I'm adding some spray, a little drop, to my clear acrylic block, and I'm mixing it with water, and I'm using that barely pink water to paint the rest of the portion of my paper, the white areas. And now I'm just playing and like dipping my paper into that water, and I will be using a heat tool just in a second here to heat set it and let it dry. And as you can see here, I'm actually also using my fingers here to sort of like move the color around and play with it. And here are some of the examples of the cards that I've already done using this technique, and I absolutely love it. And as you can see from the examples here, you can make your background as intense or as non-intense as you like. You can use more color, or you can use less color and create the background that you like and the background that works for you. So to continue this card, and actually the part with the watercolor background is over now. I'm just showing you how I finished the card as a part of my clean and simple die cutting video series. So to finish the card, I'm using a mask, a handmade mask, and I'm stamping thinking on my background. This is a stamp from Neat&Tangled, and because I didn't want the entire sentiment thinking of you, I created a little mask using washi tape. So I adhered the washi tape to a scratch piece of paper. I stamped it. I cut out the portion that I didn't want, and then I used the off you portion as a mask to create just stamp thinking on my background. Now I'm using a fibre castel medium pen to draw some lines. I really like this type of sentiments, where you combine the handwritten font with the typed font. So this is what I was going for in this card. So I used the thinking, and then I stamped make my heart, then I stamped you, and then I stamped stop. Those are all stamps from either different stamp sets or different sentiments that I just combined together. And now I'm just adding 2 more lines at the bottom of my sentiment, and I will be stamping a little heart just in a moment here. And I'm using pigment color box pigment ink in black. Now I'm going to use a new die from Spellbinders. This is one of their newest dies from the Inspire line, which they released at the Winter CHA 2014, and I absolutely love this feather. I've been waiting for a feather die for like forever, and finally I have some. And they actually released 2 different sets with feathers. This one has 2 feathers. These are larger feathers, and there's also another set with smaller feathers in it. So I've cut the feather in my card, and I'm keeping both pieces, the negative and the positive. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just adhering my background to my card base. I'm just using some double-sided tape, and I'm positioning my background on my card base, and I will be cutting off the axis in just a minute here because the background is a little bit too large for my card base. Now what I'm doing is I'm putting some foam squares, these are from Dove Craft, on the back of my feather, and I'm attaching my feather to my background. So I also offset it a little bit, just like 1 millimeter to the left, just to make sure it stands out a little bit better. So that white portion that shows through kind of creates a border and makes the feather more visible. Now finally, to finish my card, I'm adding a little bit of gems, well actually pearls. So I'm adding a few white pearls here and there just to add something a little bit more special to my project. And what I forgot to mention is that the feather I used here is sort of like those old feathers that were used back in the ages, where people would use them to write with the feathers, and it sort of like starts that thinking sentiment. So that's the idea of my card. I'm not sure if I'm explaining that correctly because I kind of lack some words here, but I hope you get the idea. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Thanks.